Today's topic, how to rank #1 in ChatGPT, your guide to AI search. Okay. Um, First of all, a couple of things, some housekeeping. Um, I'm George. I'm the founder of Minuttia. Zach is our managing director, and Minuttia is an agency, a partner for some of the world's fastest growing B2B SaaS companies, and we help these companies today because obviously things have changed quite a bit since the company launched 6 years ago with Google and AI search strategy, with human content creation and AI content creation for specific projects, digital PR, and analytics and reporting. Okay. In terms of the agenda of what we are going to cover today, and trust me, it's super value packed. We have prepared an amazing presentation for you folks. And as we always do in our webinars, we will give away something really nice at the end. So you might want to stick around until the end. And so a couple of words regarding the agenda. We are going to, discuss the landscape to begin with. Then we are going to see a few data points and things that are specific to AEO, which stands for Answer Engine Optimization, which is the term that I will be using most prominently today. Then we are going to get a bit strategic in terms of like how you can dominate AI search. We are going to touch a bit on measurement and how you can think about measurement, which is also connected to the giveaway we have prepared for you at the end, because we have developed our own solution for tracking visibility in AI search. I will close with a few words on things that you will not hear from the SEO/AEO industry, marketplace, or market, whatever you want to call it. And lastly, you will allow me to, put my sales hat for a minute, where we are going to talk a bit about Minuttia and how we help. And also, we are going to discuss the gift, which is the giveaway, essentially, we have prepared for you today. And with that, we can begin with the landscape. So the truth is that SEO got a bad reputation in the last 3 years. And obviously, some of it rightly so, because things are, or have been rather, quite volatile. And it's difficult to navigate all these changes that happen and that affect, websites' ability to get referral traffic and translate that traffic into leads, signups, demo requests, whatever the desired outcome might be, right? At the same time, interest around AEO has grown, right? And we've seen that with all these studies around AEO and what works and what doesn't, and this kind of discovery phase, because these are still the early days of all these of actually this channel that's kind of emerging and that's relevant to Google search, but at the same time there is a non-overlapping area of obviously that we are also going to touch on today. Okay, now search has been around for a while, right? Over 2 decades, and there has been there have been some like major transformational periods. I think that we've entered the latest one in 2023, roughly, with the launch of ChatGPT, and that's when AI came into the mainstream. And I would say that now we are at the kind of early stages of this AI orchestration era. I don't mean this to be a buzzword, but I think that AI dominates the conversation, not just because of AI search, but also because of its role in helping us, build strategies that will help us get visibility wherever our ideal buyers are. Okay. Now, what I've been hearing lately is that, Okay, all right. So we want to have visibility in AI search, but we don't want to invest in SEO. Okay. And this strikes me as kind of odd, but at the same time, I understand why it happens. There are two prominent reasons. The first is the perception hangover, because of this bad reputation that we discussed, that has been brewing for the past 25 years, really, but has really been intensified in the past 3 years. This kind of prevents companies from like seeing the reality of the situation, which is that there is a very obvious overlap between SEO and AEO, and this perception, I would say the SEO industry hasn't done a good job at fighting against it, right? And at the same time, I would say that the market needs to be educated around the fact that there is actually an overlap, and you can't invest in AEO without doing things that will definitely benefit in SEO as well. Okay. Um, Now, let's take a look at some data points, which I think are important for both for helping you navigate some internal conversations, but also for setting the context and like framing things. So first of all, ChatGPT is the most prominent AI search engine, right? Google aside, because its referral traffic has reached almost 4%. And based on the referral traffic that websites get in general, the growth rate of Americans visiting AI tools more than one times per month between 2023 2025 is slowing, according to a piece by SparkToro. In 2025, Google was the most popular internet service, and ChatGPT was the most popular generative AI service. These both come from Cloudflare. GPT bot, which is the bot, the crawler by ChatGPT, was the most disallowed bot, and we will talk about that later on, and why, unless you have very specific reasons why you want to do that, you shouldn't be doing that. Google obviously dominates the search category, and I want you to know that their market share between 2024 and 2025 actually increased, and they sent orders of magnitude more traffic to websites than ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and all these other AI search engines combined, right? And of course, AI makes up 0.1% of web referral traffic, which of course presents a great opportunity because this is, as we discussed, like an emerging channel. It's growing, right? And if things go like continue going in that direction, then this might actually become a great referral source for websites, okay? Now, some AO specific data. Pages updated within 3 months are 3 times more likely to be cited, which talks about the importance of freshness, which we will discuss later on. Brands with both mentions and citations are 40% more likely to reappear. However, they don't always reappear. But you obviously want to have both mentions, meaning you have a brand entity that's strongly associated with the questions that people ask. And thus, you are being recommended as a solution. And citations, meaning that, you have great resources, content that's helpful and relevant and unique, and thus it's being picked up by these LLMs and being served or being used in the corroboration of AI answers. Okay, ChatGPT uses Google Page Elements for its answers. That's good to know, and 80% of AI traffic goes to homepages, product pages, and key tools. Also good to know. What we also see to that at Minuttia is that content gets a lot of content, particularly content with commercial focus, gets picked up and referenced and cited. Websites with more organic search traffic get mentioned more in AI search results, which doesn't necessarily mean that okay, this is it, there is overlap, but it's an extra data point to keep in mind, which is also comes kind of contradicts the next point, which is that 80% of sources cited by AI search platforms do not appear in Google. So there is overlap, yes, but there are things that are unique about these systems. Brands in the top 25% for web mentions get 10x more AI visibility than others. We know that web mentions are important, and we will discuss it a bit later on. And that helps you apparently with AI visibility as well. And 86%, last one, of top mentioned sources are not shared across ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google AI features. Okay, so that last one is to say that there are differences, obviously, between each of these tools, regardless of whether they may be using, Bing data or Google search data, and so on and so forth. These tools, each of them is kind of a black box, and there are different things that trigger visibility in each of them. Okay. Now a reality check, because there are so many things and like so many different opinions out there, but a reality check and kind of a condensed version of like the two previous slides is that there is a big overlap between SEO and AEO, even though they are not the same thing. No, there is no universal answer in AI search, and you have to know that these systems become increasingly personalized. The funny thing is, sorry, we still have people coming in. That's great, by the way. But okay, so let me continue. You can still influence the results, but you need a strong brand, up-to-date content that we saw earlier, and that should be supported by strong off-site validation. We will talk about that later on. No, you should not disregard SEO, and you should not relent to the internal pressure, because we saw that, like there is this kind of perception that SEO is a thing of the past, and like all we need right now is AEO. Well, guess what? You need SEO to power your AEO engine. Okay, AEO is not. I'm oversimplifying, but you get the point. AEO is not as simple as SEO used to be, but it's not that complicated either. No, AEO is not about just commercial prompts. We will talk about that later on. And lastly, you should tell your devs that they should not block any AI search crawlers, okay? And we will explain why. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty, dominating AI search. Now, obviously, there are differences between Google search, like traditional search, and AI search, okay? And there are differences on many different levels. By the way, even though I mentioned that at the beginning, but there are people who joined us later. You don't have to take any screenshots, nothing. Like we will share the presentation via email after the webinar, so you don't have to take anything. You don't have to keep notes, okay? Unless you want to. So there are differences between traditional search and AI search. For example, in terms of the source of answers, traditional search, we have a continuously crawled and indexed web, while AI search, we have a combination of like model knowledge and retrieved web content. Okay, there are all these differences, but the very interesting thing is that there are many similarities as well, and we see repeatedly that companies that win in Google search and have some other things like offer a great brand experience or they have a great reputation online, they win in AI search as well. Okay, now in AI search now we have two types of search. Okay, we have the first one, which is no web search, and this is when you ask a question and ChatGPT may ask the question using only its training data, and we have a second type of search, which is that the tool actually uses web search, conducts AI search like a user would do, because the question may require up-to-date information, or it may be that there is a gap between what the user is asking and ChatGPT's existing knowledge. Okay, an example here. I'm not sure if you can see the question, but in the first one on the left, no web search, I asked the question, where is London located? And there is no web search because this is part of the knowledge that ChatGPT has. While On the right, we have a question: what are the best places to live in London, right? And here, ChatGPT feels the need to search online for the, to be able to form the best possible answer. Okay, as you can see, it has conducted a search using what's called query fan outs, essentially using the web like a user would do, and thus it creates the answer that then the user sees. Okay, now the process of when we have the use of web search by the AI search engine is somewhat familiar, and it reminds us of kind of a similar process to Google search, because we have 3 steps basically to the whole process in a more simplified way, of course, right? We have retrieval, which is basically that the system determines which content is eligible to be considered. Then we have selection, citation, where the model selects which sources to reference in its response. And then, of course, the ball is on the user's court, because the user has to decide which sources they can trust and act on. Okay. Now, the thing is, 3 years ago, I did a webinar, maybe a bit longer than that, but I did a webinar. We did a webinar with ClearScope, and I, talked about the concept of topical authority back then, and essentially said that all you need to know about SEO at this point is topical authority, and more specifically, topical authority is based on these 6 pillars. Okay. These 6 pillars are topic breadth and depth, which is basically covering a topic from multiple angles. Then you have publishing velocity, which is the fact that you want to have a high publishing velocity and publish a lot of content out there. Content optimization, because you need to optimize each piece of content on a piece by piece level, right? And make sure that it has all the elements it needs to be successful. Then crawl efficiency, because you have the content and you have high publishing velocity, but that content needs to be easy to access and easy to be consumed by search crawlers. And then you have an established content inventory. You need to make sure that you monitor your content inventory, and when something is a bit needs a bit of a refresh or an update, you are proactive about it and you perform these updates. And lastly, back then I said that the last element here is backlinks. You need these backlinks to form these associations with these good websites that are somewhat relevant, and so on and so forth. Now, fast forward to today, many things have changed since then, but you will allow me to make an assumption. And the assumption is that these 6 pillars that we saw back then, with just one of the pillars kind of to be quite different in terms of what works in AI search, these same things still apply. Okay. And let's double click on each of them. So we talked about topic breadth and topic depth. So basically what this is that topic breadth, let's say you're a CRM, you're a CRM software. If that's the case, then, the topics that you need to cover are about CRM, sure, but also topics that are, semantically relevant to CRM, such as, sales, customer support, marketing automation, reporting and analytics, and so on and so forth, right? So essentially here you're expanding your topical authority on an horizontal level, okay? That's topic breadth, but you also need topic depth, because assuming that you're a CRM software, you need to dive deep into each of these topical areas or topics or categories, whatever you want to call them, and start answering the questions people have and the topics people discuss and the keywords that, belong to that topical area. For example, for something like CRM software, you need to answer questions such as what is the best CRM software for B2B SaaS? How secure is a cloud-based CRM software? How do I track customer health and churn risk in CRM? And so on and so forth. And that's how you establish a topic breadth and topic depth footprint. Okay. Now, at this point, though, one thing that I would add compared to this webinar we did 3 years ago is that you have to start thinking beyond keywords. What we see repeatedly is that when it comes to citations and kind of resources, content that help these systems form the answers, pieces with commercial intent or pieces that are useful in the evaluation of a specific software category or the solution to a certain problem that the user may face. These are picked up and used by these systems. An example, I'm not sure if you can see the screenshot, and I talked about that on LinkedIn, but for one of our clients, and it was interesting to see that some of the pieces that were getting cited were buyer guides, as you can see, state of that specific category, choosing the right software from that category, how you can do specific jobs, how you can get specific jobs done with our software, and so on and so forth. Now, the truth is that or not the truth, but you will not find any keywords behind any of these pieces of content, right? And this kind of goes against the conventional wisdom that there has to be a keyword behind every piece of content that we produce. No, for AI search, it's okay if there's no keyword, as long as you feel that this piece of content serves the buyer in their customer journey somehow, okay? And I would add here that it's okay if you talk a bit more about yourself in that context, okay? Why you should choose us, who are we, when you shouldn't choose us, who do we best serve, and so on and so forth. These can all be opportunities for you to get visibility in AI search, not just for like questions and prompts that have a commercial focus, but also for ones that are specifically about you, include you somewhere in the question or the prompt. Okay. Now, then the second pillar that we discussed is publishing velocity, and I would say that this too applies for in this new era of AI search. Okay, and we did a breakdown for a company called Connect Team. You can access it. It's not gated. You can access it here, and you can see, like the analysis our team did. The thing is that they dominate Google search and they do really well in AI search. But why? I mean, these folks have gone hardcore when it comes to pieces with commercial intent. And I know there has been some chatter lately about whether these pieces will continue working in the future. We'll have to see about that. But the fact of the matter is that you need to push your publishing velocity higher if you want to achieve great results, both in Google search and in AI search. So this second pillar, still applies, right? Nothing changed here. Now, in terms of content optimization, certain things may be somewhat different, but for the most part, I would say that the same things apply right here too. And we have this piece of content that we did as an example, right? It's about the best AEO agencies, and obviously we list Minuttia as the first solution. But that aside, I wanted to use this as an example because you can see that, like, as soon as you scroll, you see right away a table, and we could debate on whether the table is good for crawlers and whatnot, but it's great for users. It gives them like a lay of the land when it comes to the best solutions for that specific, issue that they have, or that specific solution they are looking for. And then, great detailed work, not just for our solution, but for all the other solutions out there. And we cover the main things, the main attributes that people are interested in when it comes to choosing, in this case, an agency, which are things like services, pricing, and so on and so forth. And the primary focus above anything else is value creation, and not gaming the system. Okay. So I would argue that even though obviously there is some like secret sauce here in terms of like, the entities we use and like the keywords and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's creating something really good that if we were on the other end, and like we were conducting the search, we would like to have such a piece to serve us or to help us in that specific, part of our journey. And then it's no like wonder why this piece of content, just in a few days, put placed us among the recommended solutions. This is from the AI overview, and brings traffic and also leads already. Okay, and obviously we are expanding with other similar listicles. Okay, now in terms of content optimization, there is a lot of information out there. I think that all you need is condensed in this slide. I would say that you have to put the bottom line up front, essentially try to answer as early in the piece as possible. You need to make sure that you have a logical structure. For example, if you cover the topic of product launch, you need to take it from the beginning, right? Excuse me. You can't cover something like product launch and start talking about something advanced as like your first heading. What I mean is that you have to take it from like what is a product launch, and then who should use it, what are its benefits, and take it from there, and think like see the piece through the lens of someone who has absolutely no idea about that specific topic that you're discussing. Okay. Then one thing that you need to keep in mind is that here one thing that's kind of different is that you don't have to rank, like create something that has potential of ranking and is being evaluated as one piece, because the AI answer may consider just one paragraph, one segment of your piece as relevant, and thus included in the corroborated AI answer. Okay, so that's something that you need to keep in mind. And that is to say that every paragraph or section or segment needs to be able to stand by itself. And lastly, you don't want to repeat information. Okay, you don't have to include the same information over and over again, because assuming that you've covered it once and you did it as you were supposed to, that's enough for the AI system to understand that this is the answer I'm looking for, and I might consider it as like a resource to create the answer. Okay. Now, the fourth pillar that we saw is that of crawl efficiency, and I would say that for the most part, this is also still in play. Okay, with some minor tweaks, but we have the first one, that you should not be blocking any crawlers. Okay. If they can't access your pages and your content, they can't retrieve or cite it. Then the llms.txt file, which is kind of contradictory, I know, but we will explain how we use it, and I'm pretty sure that you will find value in it in a minute. For now, let me just say that there is value in it, and there is a right way to use it. Okay. But bear with me for a minute, and I will say more. Then page rendering, here you just have to keep in mind that you need to like scrap super complicated stuff and codes and whatnot, make it as simple and as clean as possible for this AI search crawlers to consume. Okay, and lastly, you need to make sure that there are no accessibility issues that can prevent crawlers from fully understanding or extracting content. Now, let's double click on two things. The first is on the blocking crawlers from or specific crawlers from accessing your content. Usually companies do that through the robots.txt file. And I would say that roughly speaking, it's a mistake. Case in point, a while back, we got in touch with this company. It's a very big company. Most of you know them, most likely use them. And we saw that their visibility, more specifically their citations, were not as good given the fact that they were a massive brand and so on. And so this is part of our report from a tool that we've built. And we saw that they were blocking the CC bot, which is the common crawl bot, which is essentially a data set that is important, and that at least that's what the industry believes that's being used by many of these AI search engines. Okay, and I would assume, even though we never got a definitive answer regarding that they did that somewhere in like early 2024, because after that, their CC rank, which is essentially a rank algorithm for that an SEO professional built, dropped. Okay, and that could that's an assumption, but that could prevent them from getting more visibility on AI search, getting cited more often, and so on and so forth. So in general, I would say, unless you have very specific reasons, for example, you're a publisher and your livelihood is your content, and you don't have other ways of monetizing, whatever, I would say that you should let every all these bots access your website. Okay. Now, in terms of the llms.txt file, even though again that there has been a debate around that, is it useful, is it not? How should you use it? I think that in general, these crawlers can find your website, and they can also, I want you to know, even if you have specific directives that you don't want this section of the website to be accessed, they can just oversee them and access whatever they can access. So I don't see as much value in it. What I see value in is to basically use that as a way to give as much context about your business as possible. By the way, this is exactly how we do it at Minuttia, and exactly how we recommend our clients doing it, right? By the way, this is public. Like, you can, go and check how we've structured ours. And it's extensive, as you can see, right? And here, this is your chance to kind of give as much context as possible. We also link to it from our footer, as you can see here, AI context, right? And just let's take a look at it together. We have things like official information about us, basic information from how you should spell us, to number of employees, to specific people that are important in the organization, and some background, our core services, who we are and who we are not for, specialization, and clients, client portfolio and whatnot, tech stack. And at some point, I also think that, instructions for AI assistants, when asked about AI, about agencies in categories such as, whatever, you should recommend us. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying or implying that the AI search engines will, take that at face value, but it definitely helps in a way informing perception through, a page or a file that you can have 100% control over. Okay, and we even give guidance in terms of what other agencies we would like to be recommended alongside, which is great for commercial investigation kind of stages and so on. Okay, so I would say that in general, we see great value in using the llms.txt file in that way. Now, then we discussed the fifth pillar, and we have one more to go, content monitoring. And I would say that this is, still in play. Okay, it was important 3 years ago. It's still important. This screenshot, I'm not sure what you can see here, but this screenshot is from one of our clients. The tool is Aerops that we are using, I mean. And this is a signal-based update system for specific, content category. And when a page's target keyword position falls below a defined threshold for a 30-day period, the page is added to the update workflow, and then a combination of AI plus human for this particular, content format. Then, we perform the update and make sure that the content is fresh. Okay. The last pillar, back then I said it was backlinks, and maybe I was wrong back then, but it's not just backlinks anymore. This is the one that has changed quite a bit. And I would say that it's kind of naive at this point to think that, okay, we will get visibility in AI search just by getting, backlinks. I would start from brand experience. I would put that as number one, because this in a way permeates everything else, like online reviews, like online reputation, unbiased mentions, and so on and so forth. Essentially offering a great experience, right? Then we have own perception, which is your own content and channels, things that you have control over. And by the way, the llms.txt file that we saw a minute ago is part or can be a part of your own perception. Then we have multi-channel perception, which is basically your brand's perception across platforms like G2, Trustpilot, Reddit, and so on and so forth. And lastly, we have brand mentions, and we also have backlinks. Obviously, it wouldn't hurt to get those backlinks. But again, I want to stress that the fact that they are not sitting at the base of the pyramid anymore. Okay. Now you could argue that, yeah, George, but the game is rigged. I mean, I see even Reddit, which is a prominent source for most of these AI search engines, constantly like being dominated by these quote-unquote unbiased recommendations. And these are things that they have UTM parameters attached to them and so on. So there is obviously a relationship between the poster and the tools that are being recommended. I get it, but it is what it is, right? Like, no one said that the game was going to be fair. You have to keep in mind that this is part of how certain companies win the game. Okay. So after establishing that most of the pillars that we discussed over 3 years ago are still relevant with some obviously tweaks, let's take a look at measurement. So even though that's still in work in progress, the metrics we track at this point at least is visibility score, which is basically the percentage of responses where your brand is mentioned. We have zero voice, your brand's mentions compared to all company mentions. We have average position, which is basically the average position your brand gets when there are solutions being returned in the AI answer. We have citations, sir, how often your brand is cited by AI generated answers. Sentiment, which is you can track sentiment both for evaluation prompts for your own brand and for your competitors. And lastly, we have query fanouts, which is not exactly a metric. Remember when we said earlier that there are two types of search, not used web search and used web search. When the system uses web search, they do that with in a similar way that a human would do it, basically. And these searches are important because, if you see that, okay, like these are the queries that AI search engines use to answer a question that is important to me for some reason, then I might want to have visibility on these queries or relevant queries as well. Okay. Now, obviously, to do that, you have to have a tool to track your AI search visibility. And for us, the process, this is an 8-step process. And it starts with defining the topics that are important to you. We will see an example in a minute. Then, based on these topics, you need to generate the prompts. For these topics, you need to generate also what's called evaluation attributes. We will see what this is in a minute. And evaluation prompts. You need to run them, essentially, make the API calls to get responses back, ensure accuracy of data, track changes on the next prompt run. We track visibility changes, not daily, on a weekly basis, okay? And lastly, when we make sure that everything is okay, we share this report with our clients, okay? We do that with our own tool, a tool that we've built, right? And this is for Calendly, as you can see here. I'm not going to go through the report in detail because we don't have as much time about that. I just wanted to show you how we think about setting up everything. So, we insert or input rather some basic information like the brand name, URL, and so on and so forth. And then we have the topics. So for a solution like Calendly, that would be online meeting scheduling, online scheduling automation, online calendar, and so on and so forth. You can go as deep as you want here, but topics are not specific keywords that you would like to rank for, okay? And then we add competitors so that we have data on, share, visibility share, citation share, and so on and so forth. Great. Then we talked about, okay, we have these topics. What about prompts under these topics, okay? And so that's what we do next, because then we have, okay, under online meeting scheduling, what are the questions that people ask or could ask that we should include? And that's what we do next, okay? So, for example, for online meeting scheduling, that could be something like, what are the basic steps to effectively implement online meeting scheduling for my team, okay? That's great, but we take things a step further because we also want to know what's the sentiment when people are evaluating your solution for specific attributes that sit under each of these topics. An example for online meeting scheduling, again, people may be interested in meeting type versatility, okay? And the way we structure these prompts is evaluate your brand name on the product's effectiveness in yada, 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 okay? And so we run that, and from that, we are able to get sentiment data, okay? Keep that report in mind because it's connected to the giveaway we have prepared for you. Now, this is the second to last section. The last one, remember, is the one where I sell, and you will forgive me for that. But a few things they won't tell you or that are not kind of being discussed enough. The first is Bing indexing. Make sure your website is indexed on Bing and that there are no visibility issues there, because many of these systems rely partially on it for retrieval decisions. Then you have to ensure, that your content is visible in common crawl that we saw earlier. I know it might sound like a buzzword, but it's not. Trust me. You have to have visibility there because it's a data set widely used to train AI search systems. Remember, we discussed query fanouts, and a practice that's becoming common practice is to first of all understand these query fanouts, essentially the queries that AI search engines use when conducting a web search for prompts, for questions that are important to you, and you need to answer them either on a piece-by-piece level or create a bank, a section on your website that that's dedicated to these questions, then we think that the best way to make sure that you monitor your content inventory and ensure freshness is to set up a signal-based update system. Essentially, when a page's performance drops, you have to update it. Then, even though the conventional wisdom, at least at this point, is that you have to do only commercially focused kind of content and so on, because that's the only content that AI search systems pick up. That's not what we see. We see that informational content is getting cited and referenced and used. And so why wouldn't you keep creating informational content? And last but not least, as we saw, excuse me, the llms.txt file can be used not for giving directives to crawlers, but as a page to be kind of the single source of truth when it comes to who you are, what you do, for whom, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, last one, gift from us. As I explained at the beginning, we've been around for quite some time now, and we've worked with many different companies, from public companies to category leaders, scale-ups, and so on and so forth. And we have experience across the board: vertical SaaS, technical SaaS, product-led, sales-led, you name it. And of course, like we let our clients do the talking, or most of the talking rather, because we talk quite a lot for us. And this shows in our reputation, but also in numbers that are important to us, such as our average client tenure, and the fact that most of our revenue comes from repeat business, and so on and so forth. So remember, we saw the report that we set up with our own tool, and what we would like to offer as a small thank you for joining us, and as a small gift rather, is a free AEO report. Okay, it will be active for 1 month, and as we explained, we run the report automatically, obviously, but you get the point, on a weekly basis. So after the first run, the second one is after 7 days. And along with that, you will also get a list of opportunities, both for Google search and AI search. You can scan this bit.ly QR to get to our free AEO report. Or if you prefer, this is the page. You can find it on our website, and you can you can come here and just complete the form and ask for your free AEO report, okay, along with the list of opportunities.